then that will help, because then the cycle starts going this way. You re-engage with life, you feel less disappointed and overwhelmed and useless, and you do more to progress your idea. So I think if we could try and get this going, and also try and reduce this, so get you engaging more with what you care about, the things that are sort of congruent with your values.
Yeah.
It feels like you've sort of lost that connection to your values at the moment.
Yeah.
Right, so you're working 7 till 4. You see Stephen every week?
I mean, I see him
every day, most days.
And
how often do you have you planned as part of your new role to have some kind of strategic meeting with him, maybe once a week, or has that kind of thing ever worked with him historically?
Not really. No.
I'm just thinking, given that his priorities seem to shift the whole time about what he wants to use your time for, and
yeah. Well, I guess that remains for me maybe the biggest challenge in all of this. I'm not currently comfortable with the idea of just using my time however he wants to use it, and then pointing to if it doesn't work out well, just done everything he asked me to,
I know, because that's not your mentality.
Well, yeah.
And it's also not your style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also just fundamentally back to the pride point of I don't think it will work.
So what would you like, if it's not going to be like that, if it's not going to be that you're Stephen's bitch, how would you like it to be? How do you want, let's think about how you want that relationship to be. Knowing him as you do.
So presumably in a world where I think it's possibly actually achievable. Yeah,
I mean knowing every aspect and limitation of him as you do. What's the best case scenario that we could get?
I think me leading some sort of proactive update.
Yep.
As infrequently as keeps this working, with highly visible metric of success for everyone.
What's stopping you from implementing that?
Frustration, fear of failure, like I think the fact that I spent a bunch of time creating a transition plan that was agreed, and then I went away for a week and it was thrown out the window on the Monday morning. I think it's, as with a lot of challenges I have in life, it's the kind of consistency and uphold, like in a world where he doesn't want to be formulaic and follow an update process, have any sort of standardization, and knowing myself that that's something I would struggle with in the best of times to keep on top of it. It's hard to force that on him. So I think, part of what's stopping me is the flustered nature of stuff being pushed my way.
Could you articulate that ideal scenario to him? This is the way I would like to work. This is the way that I would like to kind of process tasks. This is...
I definitely could.
But it wouldn't make any difference. No. So what are your options? What I'm hearing you say is you know how you want to work, but you can't work that way because of the relationship that you have with Stephen and because of the way he is.
I'd say in that case at least, because of how we both are, I know that to have any hope of it, I would need to keep it that way and only that way, and not get distracted, which is hard for me.
Yes.
But
so that's actually not a realistic way of working, either for you or for him.
No.
So go back then.
I think the highly visible metric piece, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
As in, if I can really get him to commit to this
that.
is what you're judged on.
Mm-hmm. What do you think you should be judged on, Sam?
Well, this is the problem with the role as he wants to define it, as opposed to how.
Yeah, what's the problem in terms of metrics from the way that he wants to define it?
Well, how do you measure the success of the company strategy? And should that live with? I mean,
Isn't that just the flavour of the month? This month, the company strategy.
Probably,
Next month, it'll be something
Yeah.
else. So that's a conversation that you need to have, isn't it?
I hope so.
Given that I'm doing different things,
Mm-hmm.
and probably you'll ask me to do different sorts of things, how will my success be judged?
Yeah.
What if he says, well, it's very hard to say because,
So I don't think he will do that.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'll agree with the metrics he wants to put in place, but that may be one of those areas where I just have to, if I really want to not be miserable every day, where I just have to say, fine, I'll be judged on the perceived quality of the company strategy as measured by the team or whatever we come up with, and I'll be judged on new product revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So yeah, I do feel I can have that conversation. He won't resist it. I think.
Well, you're not going to be worse off to have that conversation. No. You may as well have it.
Yeah, and I've definitely said that a number of times that for me it's going to be really important that I know both for my own sense of self-worth, but also so that I do have those boundaries of what am I going to be judged on.
Yeah.
So that conversation has started.
How do you structure your day then in terms of how do you decide how you're going to spend your time on a given day? I mean, sometimes there'll be meetings. How do you how do you make a plan? Do you make a plan? Not particularly well, no. Which I definitely think is related to I'll go through little fits and starts where I'll be able to either emotionally or time-wise or whatever, but I do think I've more generally taken a more, unless there's like a concrete project that I know I'm working on, because of the nature of the role, a lot of it has been reactive, and I'll start in the morning, look at my diary, figure out what I need to do for that day, look at my emails, see what fires I need to put out. But the new job will be different in that respect, won't it? Because you're
Absolutely.
not going to be, the whole point about this new job is that it's more strategic, it's more, you're not dealing with all this HR shit that you were dealing
absolutely.
with. So given that that's the case, what are you going to do to manage your time productively? How can you help yourself to use your time productively during the day?
Well, that I think comes back a little bit to, helpfully, to the struggles here as well.
Exactly.
Basically, I've yet to find a system, be that digital or
paper,
that works for me. Trying to, I can try or have tried lists, prioritise lists, etc. But I've yet to find one that sticks.
What typically happens when you implement something like that?
Distraction. Above all else, I'll best laid plans, and then
something will happen
that either I want to do more, so help someone, or something will happen that I need to do.
But again, that should happen less.
Absolutely. But I guess I'm trying to think. So at home, if I stop doing one of the other things, it will be either a sense of obligation, guilt. So if I'm going to be at home, I should really do some dishes, help out around the house. Or fun, escapism, disengage, whatever. Okay, I've done that bit.
But that doesn't leave any
dog to the park.
But that doesn't leave any time for the most important thing in your life at the moment.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're feeling like this.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to think